This is Monkey here, and welcome back to Monkey Magic Gaming, and welcome back to our Here for the Booze series. Time for episode 2. Are you ready for episode 2?
Always ready.
Alright, so tonight's, this episode's stories are going to be about creepypasta. I am aware of what creepypasta are, but I think they're like variant stories. Like, I know there's like Siren Head and some creepy stuff like that. Isn't Slender Man technically a creepypasta?
Slender Man, Siren Head, that sort of the not SCP sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So no, I think there's a fair difference. So the SCP stuff tends to be more of the like organization control and stuff, where the creepypasta are more like unexplainable things that just are sort of out there and nobody
really knows where they came from or how it came to be. It's not like legend of like how Skinwalker's previous episode was. That's passed down through Navajo tribes and real stories of what they've felt, but things like this sort of just pop up out of nowhere. Right.
Or have always been there.
What are we having this time? We've got a nice little piece of paper here that tells me what each cocktail is going to be. So this episode's cocktail is going to be a magic cotton candy martini. All right, that sounds interesting.
It does.
All right, our beautiful bartender, as always, is going to prepare these earlier in the day, and so you guys can see how they're made, in case you want to make it yourself. And I know it's a bit harder to see what we're drinking from over here, but this way you guys will get to see what they look like. But yeah, roll into that. Oh, that looked tasty, didn't it? All right, it looks even tastier in person. You guys missed. Well, you guys got to see the little like thing of how it got made, but watching it up close with the like cotton candy, that was cool. Our bartender just did it like right here in front of us, and it was really cool. But it's gonna need. And then my cotton candy just fell straight into it. I was gonna eat that. All right, do we want to? These like need 2 hands to drink. Drink. Oh, that's tasty. Ooh, I like that. It gives me very sangria vibes. What about you?
I feel like it's when I'm camping.
Camping?
That, like cotton candy just sort of when it's like melts in your hand, it becomes slightly harder.
Yeah.
Or
I love that.
melds together. It's just like
I
that.
absolutely love
It's
that.
my favorite kind of cotton candy.
That is brilliant. All right, let's get into this first story of creepypastas. All right, you can just chill there and drink
just
your
go
drink.
chill and drink
They're
your
not
drink.
shots this time. You can
Yeah.
actually like slightly pace yourself. But if that's not done by the time I finish my story, then no, you can pace yourself, buddy. We want to actually be able to talk by the last episode of this.
Hey.
All right, so I might move my drink a bit more. So there we go. All right. Darkness in the rearview mirror. In the summer of 2013, I found myself driving home along a highway 902 from a party. It was almost midnight, and needless to say, it was pitch black. As was usual at night.
I mean, hopefully.
Hopefully. That kind of ruined the ambiance of the story there. It's like,
yeah, it was getting good.
it was getting good. It was pitch black at night.
Now,
As was usual at night. Thank you for that. We appreciate it.
about that
Alright.
now.
I was on edge. I had the radio off and I could hear nothing but the muffled roar of tyres on pavement and dull hum of the engine. I stole a glance into the middle rear view mirror and saw nothing but darkness through the back window. I know that I looked backwards and saw nothing. I'm sure of it. Just the seeming endless blackness of night. I remember it was clearly because not 10 seconds later, a car passed me to the left, headlights on. And I had one of those sudden adrenaline rushes. Like when you think you see a person outside your bedroom window and it's just a tree. Or when you stare awake at night with the feeling of falling. 10 seconds earlier, nothing had been behind me. Suddenly, a car. So far this is good. I'm liking this, like, setting the scene, it's getting us there.
I'm concerned about this person's mental state.
I am too, like...
Because they've been looking out windows at trees and being like, oh, there are people!
The
There's
people!
people outside!
There's people outside! It's like,
Oh, the tree people!
like falling, that's normal. Like, when you
Yeah, I can understand.
everyone's experienced that. Like, you're just
thought-
like, shh, like having a nap on the couch, and then you were like really having a good nap, and then suddenly, just falling.
I did think they were going to start talking about like when you're like laying in your bed and you look at the side of like the shadows and you're like, oh, there's a person there.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought they were going to
terrifying.
go with that one as opposed to falling. That's been
I've played some good like VR horror games with that, where like you're looking around the room and then it's just there, then it's gone.
Yeah, true.
All right, let's. Where was I at? All right. I drove the rest of the way home, shivering and knowing something was off. The next morning, I found two sets of scratches near the back of my van. One was on the left rear, one was on the right. The car was pretty old. They could have been there for months. But that was the first time that I distinctively remember seeing them. In hindsight, there are two possibilities for what happened that night. Possibility number one. By some glitch in reality or something paranormal, this other car had somehow appeared behind me within 10 seconds of me checking my mirror. Or, you know, you were not paying attention and just driving in just a car. Or, you know, it forgot to have its headlights on or something. Or, you know, a number of probably more realistic scenarios.
For a person that found themselves driving home from something at night, I feel like they blanked out, thought about something else, realised they haven't checked the mirror, looked up, and then just been like,
And then just see lights, oh, there's a car there. I swear that's happened to me. Alright, where's possibility number two? Oh, there was a little extra to that after the checking my rearview mirror, like some weird ghost crap or something. However, the second option is what makes my blood run cold whenever I consider it. It didn't even occur to me until months after the fact, but it makes me dread driving alone at night even more. Possibility number two. The car was normal. It had approached me from the rear and passed me to my left. However, something large and wide and as black as the night had been clinging to the rear of my car, occupying my view through the window and leaving deep scratches on the sides. And I inadvertently driven it home with me. Okay, that's... I feel like it's all a bit... But that is a cool concept. Like, that he didn't see this car pass him until it came through his like side mirror, like with the lights, when he was checking his rear view mirror, because it was literally something on the back of his. But I feel like you wouldn't see something.
Yeah, well, especially if you were the car behind them. If you were driving behind somebody.
Yeah, this driver's just like driving past this person. You just see this big monster hunched on the back, fucking honking your horn, flashing lights, the window down, like, I've got something in the back of you.
I would be out of there. I would not be passing that. If I came up behind someone and there was a giant monster blocking their back windscreen.
No, they never would have even passed that car. I'd be
No,
like
I would've
braking.
been
I'd be like,
I'm
you're
out
right.
of here.
I'm talking
It's
about
just
how
like-
I'm talking about how I'd warn them and stuff. No, I'm not warning them. I'm braking and I'm letting them go bye. And I'm like, yep. I'll read that on the news later.
Yeah. Catch you when you're dead, buddy.
Catch ya.
Wow.
Later, bud. Sucks to be you. And then you tell all your friends about it later, and they look at you like you're a mad person. Yeah.
The
All right.
Skinwalker problem.
I didn't mind that one, but I feel like he just was having a long night. Normal scratches on the car, and he's over exaggerating the story a little bit.
Coming from a party, I've been to a few, not that many, don't
Yeah.
worry. But I've seen a few where damage to cars, especially from people wandering around, is not unheard of.
Exactly. So I think I'm going to give this 2 out of 5 boos. I wasn't impressed.
I'm going to give it a 1. This
1?
one I felt sort of let me down in the boo section.
Yeah, it felt a bit lackluster. Is that the right word?
Lackluster? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Just
alright.
didn't have that shine of something
It did
scary.
not. It did not. Alright. On to story number 2.
My turn.
His turn. Now I get to drink drinks and listen to him read cool story.
Absolutely. Here we go again. This one's called Roommate Troubles.
Oh, I know that feeling. Not right now. My roommate's my wife. That's a good roommate. Prior roommates.
What he says. Oh, I got the hiccups now. That's great.
Was that you just hiccuping?
Yeah. This actually happened to me a few years back at University of the Arts in Philadelphia. My sophomore year, I roomed with a girl named Cara. She was a jazz violinist, but her main interest was opera. We had a small room in the 6th floor of the dormitory called Jupiter Hall. The walls were thin, and her last night singing and voice practices would keep me up late. After a month or so of lost sleep, I convinced her to move her last night practices to the music studio in the Miriam Theatre building a block away. Around 8 one evening, Cara announced that she was going to be practicing late for an upcoming recital and probably wouldn't be home until after midnight. Great, I thought. This means I can go to bed early. I was beat. Had a horrible day in the acting studio. Was ready to pass out as soon as I had dinner. She said goodnight and left, coffee and sheet music in hand. I made some grilled cheese and soup, gobbled it down, and immediately began to prepare for bed. By the time I got out of the shower, my eyelids were so heavy I could hardly brush my teeth. I pulled on my PJs and crawled up to the top bunk of our bunk beds. I was out as soon as my head hit the pillow. I should take a second to describe the layout of our apartment. When entering the apartment, the bedroom was through the door immediately on the left. Our bathroom was inside the bedroom, just past the bunk beds. Sounds smelly, but got to admit I've been in places where that's not unusual.
Exactly. We both have.
Yeah, I've both lived there for 12 months at least.
Context. We both, current Defence Force member, former Defence Force member, Navy ships. We know about stinky small spaces.
It's not wrong, mostly because of him. But.
Yeah, definitely because of me. I ain't even going to argue that one.
UArts is nice in the sense that you don't have to share bathrooms. Anyway, I woke up to the sound of the apartment door closing. I opened my eyes and groggily checked my phone. Midnight on the dot. I rolled back over and closed my eyes. heard Kara enter the room and stop in front of the bunk beds. Checking to see if I'm actually asleep, I thought. She flopped down on the bed below me, which was strange. She was a stickler for brushing her teeth and washing up before bed. Then again, exams are just round the corner, and we were all exhausted. The mattress below me creaked, and then was silent. I couldn't even hear her breathing. I started to drift off again. Just on the edge of deep sleep, when I was started awake again by a noise, a key in the lock, the door opening, and Kara entered our apartment, humming an opera tune. Mattress below me creaked.
Is that it?
That's it. That's the end of the story. That's interesting. So somebody got in there. Someone was in your apartment.
Yeah.
Or something.
Or, just creaky floorboards and...
I don't know. I think that one,
I don't know.
despite being a creepypasta,
Yeah.
but that one would give me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. I think I've experienced things like that before, and just, I don't like when you're hearing sounds and you're not entirely sure of what it is.
In the night, just someone coming in, just waiting.
Yeah, I think I'll give that 3. 3 out of 5. I think it was good, but it wasn't still...
No, definitely wasn't episode 1 worthy. Episode 1 worthy ones are pretty good.
Yeah, episode 1 worthy. Episode 1 were good worthy. Look what I've done to this drink in the time.
That's an effort and a half.
Ah,
Well, we better
Alright.
get a refill and
I think we need refills.
next one.
Up to the next episode. No, sorry, next story. Still in episode 2.
What's the next one?
Next one. Got your new drink?
Got my new drink ready.
He's refilled.
Ready to go. On the white couch.
On the white couch. I'm pretty sure Mrs. Monkey would kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd all be witness to it. And we'd upload it, because why not?
Why not?
Why
It's
not?
that kind of world.
It's that kind of world we live in right now. It's 2020 after all. All right. Ooh,
Next story.
darn
What
for
do
a
we got
second.
this time?
All right, what's the story we have now? This story is I sat on the bus. Scary enough already.
Whoa.
Like,
I hate the bus. Bus sucks.
buses do suck, especially here. Buses suck in Australia.
Mm.
We do not have good bus systems.
No.
They're disgusting. All right, let's kick into this. All right. I sat on the bus. Good start already. Roll credits.
Done.
Done.
Good
Done.
story.
Good story. All right. Sorry. I sat on the bus, I sat on the bus on my way to school, listening to music and paying little to no attention to the other students. At one of the stops, my mind snapped back to reality. I looked towards the small house, Tommy's house. I thought. A hand slipped through the drapes of the window and waved to the bus driver to move on. He's sick, I thought, paying no large amount of attention to the situation. The day flew by. I watched the local news channel after school, and what I heard paralyzed me. Tommy's entire family was murdered that day by an unknown suspect. After hearing this news, I moved back up to my room and quietly fell asleep. The next day, I sat on the bus. We drove past Tommy's house, and the bus driver, unaware of Tommy's family's fate, stopped at his house. As I was about to get up and explain to her what had happened, something caught my eye. A pale hand slipped through the drapes of the window and waved the bus driver to move on. I sat on the bus, terrified.
Why are the cops not there?
I know. Why is that house not boarded up and stuff with things?
Like less than 24 hours.
I know,
after
and,
a massive murder.
As a massive murder, the cops aren't investigating the house and isn't there a whole thing about the criminals always return to the scene of the crime? You think they'd be manning it more than 24 hours worth? I feel like
There'd be something somewhere. If an entire group of people died in a place, there would be police guarding. There would be crime scene tape everywhere, especially if the entire family died and no one could clean it up. There would be forensics still going
suspects, yeah.
through. It would just be nuts.
I
No one
did
would
like
not know.
it because it was short and sweet and
It
to the
was.
point. But and you're telling me this bus driver that's like works for the school hasn't been informed, like, hey, along your route, Tommy's whole family and him have been murdered. Don't go past that house anymore. Go to pick up Tommy.
That's a good point. They
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't want you to go past Tommy's house.
You tell me, like, the whole school has, like, the principal and teachers haven't informed, like, the bus driver of this. I'm imagining as a small country town, because that's the vibe it was giving me. They haven't informed this bus driver, hey, you know what? Don't pick up Tommy anymore.
Yeah, just don't go near the house in case it scares the kids.
Yeah, exactly. They've all heard this on the news. Why haven't you? Bus driver with no TV that doesn't watch the news. All right.
I reckon I'll give that half a boo just because it was short
And a bit far-fetched.
and just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it didn't really give me the chills.
No. Like, it was... I'll give it a 1. I'll give it a bit more. One boo out of 5.
That's that one then.
Boo.
Easy.
1 boo. All right. On to the next one.
Alright, let's see.
Let's go. That's
No,
that is what you just did then. That is going in this right now.
No,
all right.
this is
He's about to read. He's about to read the 4th story. You all saw that. That was brilliant.
no one saw anything.
He needed to reshape his pants. All right. Start reading number 4, buddy. Or do you need to get up and do another shake of your butt?
No, I don't know what you mean.
All right. Let's get into it.
I just have one question before I start this. Why is everyone going to hang out with their grandparents in these scary stories?
I know, right? Like, but that being said, my grandparents are awesome. I love hanging out with my grandparents.
Yeah, but how many times you hung out with your grandparents and all of a sudden, death?
Never.
Never. Not once.
I had to think for a second.
Yeah, not once
Not
has
once.
it been,
Not once it's been like,
oh, hey,
I hate grandma, a death.
Death. Alright.
Cake and death.
Okay.
Cake or death.
Okay, please. Alright. This one is seaweed. Well, they were funny.
I don't know. Just kick into it. Kick into your seaweed
This guy
story.
is talking about my seaweed story.
He's talking about his seaweed. Off fishing. Caught some. All right, go ahead. Sorry. Tell your seaweed story.
I'll tell my seaweed story. My grandmother grew up in the slums of Prohibition-era Chicago. Her family lived in a small house near the harbor. And one of her earliest memories was a particularly hot summer when seeking respite from the heat. She and her sister discovered a seldom used section of the boardwalk near an abandoned warehouse. Every night, for several weeks, the two girls would make their way down to the docks and sit together on the end of the pier as the sun went down. My grandmother vividly, and for a time fondly, recalled the feel of the seaweed between their toes, and she and her sister dangled their feet in the murky water. It wasn't until years later that she returned to the pier and found that the warehouse had been demolished. Curiously, she made an inquiry with the Department of Planning and Development. Good thing the story is talking about local government subcontracting and
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
just like,
good,
Yep.
good,
Just
important aspects of the story.
Yep. Just going down to them and just finding out why it was destroyed, because that's what you do.
That's right. Talk about government departments fondly.
Mm.
Apparently, the warehouse had been owned for some time by the mob, who was using it as a base for operations for a local prostitution racket.
The old water prostitution
Ooh,
racket
that's
down
an
by the
important
pier.
one. Ooh, sneak in there.
Sneaking seaweed prostitution racket.
It had only been uncovered when the associate began disposing of rival hookers. Rival hookers?
Apparently these mobsters owned prostitute rings, and there were rival hookers that were fighting each other.
I feel like this is...
I feel like this is the start to a great TV show.
Yeah.
It's like these hooker rings that were like, the mobsters had nothing to do with it. They were like, our hookers just go fight each other.
Hooker fight ring.
The
101.
hooker fight ring, like, people paid for it. Like,
Yeah, lots, I imagine.
once they were killing each other, apparently. Like, the mobsters were like, hey, calm down. Like,
Settle.
Just
Settle,
calm down.
fella.
Yeah.
Began disposing of rival hookers by fitting them with concrete shoes and dumping them into the harbour.
That is very mobstery.
Investigating officers had recovered. Investigating officers had recovered nearly 24 bodies from the water within the secluded pier nearby. How had the bodies been discovered? Passing fishermen spotted some of the victims' hair floating near the surface of the water like seaweed.
Oh, I see what it did there.
Yeah.
Like they used to
Right
go,
around.
they used to go chill down by the pier, feet down, feeling the seaweed touching them, and it was really the hooker's hair.
Oh, a weird way to put that, but yes.
Well, the dead hookers. They were dead.
Lots of dead hookers.
Dead women. I'm sorry.
So
Dead
many.
lovely women that have a
That's right.
naughty profession.
Oldest profession.
Oldest
in the world.
profession in the world.
Lots of them.
Lots of them, apparently.
Go home, wash your feet. What do you got there? Oh, just hooker hair. Got hooker hair caught between me toes.
Oh, as you do.
Cut some of it off. Wrap it all up.
Why?
Some
Oh,
tasty
'cause
seaweed.
seaweed, I guess.
Some tasty seaweed.
Oh god,
Mm.
yum yum. Oh my god. All right. That's episode 2 for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for when we upload episode 3, which for you guys will probably be like a week or so when we upload it, but for us, it's literally going to be in a couple minutes. So if our words become more slurrier, it's because we're going to have a different kind of cocktail, but we are going to finish these before we start episode 3. But until then, till you guys see us next. Until next time. Bye!